Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jane. Coffee Chat is back. I'm sorry that I didn't have Coffee Chat for about a week and a half. Lots going on, much needed time with family, one of whom was having a procedure, just all kinds of things. And so summer's a good time to kind of catch up on stuff like that. But now we're back. Coffee Chat, so good to have you with me, and I've gotten messages from many of you saying, Dr. Jane, where's Coffee Chat? I did do some critical reprises in terms of my shows in the last week, but we're back on schedule. You will see tonight part 2 of Catherine Austin Fitz. It was well worth reprising. So, got a very special cup. I don't know if anybody knows this cup. But if you do, write to me at my Proton mail, DRJ, the real Dr. Jane Ruby at proton.me. Gotta be very specific. If you know what it is, and I'll let you know if you guessed it right. Okay, so very hot. I understand places like Boston. I grew up in the Northeast, really way up by Canada. So these temperatures are, but I try to balance the information that I get from Dane Wigington, who's got all kinds of incredible receipts and evidence that our environment, our ecosystem is damaged, and this is why we have these crazy things like almost 9 on the Richter scale earthquakes, and the resulting tsunamis and this weather. I expect weather that's in the 90s in South Florida in the summer. The real feel yesterday, I guess, was 110. I'm here, for many reasons, but I love the tropics, or I wouldn't live here. I've always loved the tropics since I was a little girl. So even though it can be a little stifling, a little warm, I much prefer this to cold weather. All right, let's talk about your new... Oh, first of all, let me thank a few people. This cup is not a gift, but it is just my fun cup, one of my fun cups. I want to thank so many of you for the love, the notes, the comments. Thank you so much for staying with me, because I want to warn you, this is an information war. What does that really mean? That means they're going to lie to you. They're going to take good people like me. They're going to create stories. They're going to make them look real. You know that you see what these systems like Grok and ChatGPT and a few months ago I shared with you a video sent to me by a follower, and he said, Dr. Jane, I was sucked in. These people imitated your voice. I thought I was going to work for you and help you out, and when I listened to the tape, the AI version of myself, I knew it wasn't me, but it was pretty close. And I thought, boy, the public, I could see the public thinking, well, that's Dr. Jane, and she said X, Y, and Z. And they can, through AI, make you look like you're saying anything. They can doctor records. They can bring out, pictures and what they claim is evidence. We're going to have to get a lot more, skilled and specific at discerning evidence, because evidence is now going to come under attack. They're going to say, see, this person is a bad person. They did this. Maybe they tell you that person is a pedophile or a rapist. Your first reaction should be to stop, to mentally stop and say, I'm going to go look into that. I'm going to look for corroborating information. I'm going to look for things that verify that, because it's hard to lie and cover every base. So if you corroborate, you're going to uncover where, this might be a lie. Okay, so before I get into some of the things I want to share with you, I want to thank specifically a few people who've been really extra caring and loving and generous in terms of helping me with resources and helping me with spiritual resources too. So it's not all about money and not about gifts or anything like that, but it's across all that. Alan, Alan, I think you're okay with me saying your name because you're on Twitter and I think you use your real name. Alan Japes is just a wonderful person, great supporter, has sent me countless beautiful books, stories, DVDs, music, links. I really appreciate it so much. And then, of course, there's Brian in Illinois. You know, Brian is the one, like 2 years ago already, I think it is, gave me the Joby stand, tripod stand for the phone to do the coffee chats. And Brian's also been doing the embroidery, see back here, of the shows and towels. And it's beautiful. Brian, you nailed the logo. I thank you so much. And believe me, I wish I could mass produce them based on your designs and we could send them all over the world. Maybe someday. Okay. And Karen, you know who you are up in Canada. She is just such a loving, generous person. Just donates to the show. I think in her mind, it's just, you know, she's just being nice and it's no big deal, but it's life-saving, Karen. And I thank you so much. I thank all of you for whatever you do, your notes of encouragement, your prayers, when you can send a donation or a gift, a cup, you know, still love them. Love the coffee cups. Okay, well, back in March, I warned you about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. hand-picking Susan Menares as his CDC director. This is an incredibly powerful position. Incredibly powerful, as you can see. So apparently, Robert Malone, who is the co-chair of the Advisory Council on Immunization Practices, essentially making the recommendations to continue to poison our babies with mRNA, will be answering, I guess, to her. If she's director of the CDC, she's going to have a lot to say. But she is, if you look at my posts on both Telegram and Twitter today, you'll see that when she's grilled on Capitol Hill, she's all about the mRNA. Oh yeah, she thinks it's safe and effective. She said we should feel really good about putting that inside of ourselves and our babies. I'm like, what? Girl, please. So who is Susan Menares? I warned you back in March. I showed you a lot of different stuff. She's a DARPA babe. She's BARDA, DARPA. She's National Security Council for biological, preparedness. Perfect choice. Perfect choice for CDC. So DARPA, if you're not familiar with it by now, I hope you are, but for those few of you left who may not be aware of it, DARPA is the defense, so it's military, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Look, they create all these different agencies like DARPA, BARDA, ARPA. She was actually the head of ARPA, right? Which is really the same thing. ARPA is the Advanced Research Projects Agency. It's just that DARPA is definitely part of DOD. ARPA works with DARPA, but they're not ARPA, DARPA. They set up all these agencies and they make them sound really good. Advanced research, we're going to protect you. Remember, if they protect you, they're trying to kill you. And so what do you think happens? Well, we're going to, Congress, your buddies in Congress that some of you think you're going to get some justice from. They're funding it. They're funding the development of your bioweapon to kill you. Because they know, and they're taking the lobby money and they're doing everything the DOD wants them to do. They're going to be safe. I don't know if they are or are not going to be safe. All I can tell you is they've sold their souls to the devil. So what happens is, Congress will say, yeah, we're going to sign this appropriation and that appropriation. Ways and Means are going to start giving the money away, and we're going to give $1 billion to DARPA and $2 billion to ARPA and this one and that one. Before you know it, they're laundering across hundreds of agencies and making you and I supposedly think that they're doing something good for us. So this DARPA babe, Susan Menares, she was the deputy director And then she was also on the U.S. National Security Council. Guess what she worked on 5-10 years ago? And now they're bringing her in to head up CDC, a vaccine patent company. Okay, I digress. Guess what she was on the development team for? Wearables. Wearables. Remember RFK Jr.? My vision is that every American is wearing a wearable in 4 years. Sorry. Not sorry. The guy's tremulous. Why is he tremulous? Why is he tremulous? He's not well. Something's wrong. I'm not going to accuse him of anything. But when I see a recovering addict, heroin and cocaine addict, tremulous, face turning red under pressure, makes me wonder. So she worked on wearables. She's perfect for his pick. He bragged in March that he handpicked her. And now she finally got through her Senate hearing yesterday. Woohoo! Great. Great. Your new CDC director is right on the team. Yep, bringing you more and more mRNA, just like Trump, Kennedy, Macri. Oh yeah, they just, don't believe your lying eyes. We got rid of the mRNA. Oh man, if one more person writes to me on Twitter or Telegram and says, well, didn't he get rid of the mRNA? Because they don't read beyond this. See this thing? This thing is it's like a little bit of a barrier. It's your nose. Okay? Got to read beyond. And I do all the shortcuts for you guys. And some of you just, did he remove it? Isn't he doing a great job? Okay. Yeah, and she was also one of the architects of the current version of the PrEP Act. Wearables, loves mRNA. Remember in her Senate testimony that I just posted this morning in Twitter and Telegram, she says, well, the FDA deemed it safe and effective. They did? Be very careful, Susan, because you got the Pfizer over here in their documentation in the Brooke Jackson whistleblower case, when it got dismissed in Pfizer's favor, based on a document that said we weren't making a pharmaceutical, so we didn't have to prove efficacy and safety. We were making a military prototype, Judge. Here's the document. So which is it, Susan Menares? Is the FDA declaring that the mRNA shots for COVID and regular flu are safe and effective? As I've told you before, safe and effective is they're not just nice adjectives, like it's warm and cozy. No, they're legal terms. They have minimum levels of criteria to qualify. You have to qualify as a new drug entity or any drug entity to be called safe and effective and to call your product safe and effective. So Susan Menares is wearables. She's big at mRNA, and she said in her testimony, we can feel really secure putting this inside of us and in our children. What a murderer. A murderer! Doesn't care. When you're satanic, you don't care. You think you have your God in Satan. And for now, they are acting with impunity. Okay. I want you to understand something. When I say something is a DoD bioweapon, please go back and watch the 16-minute post. I just reposted it, by the way, on Twitter, of Catherine Watt in that segment. It's the most powerful segment. I don't think it's the entire presentation, but it is pretty much everything you need to know. And that is the American bioterrorism program that she wrote about, because she discovered, and she put all the laws and the congressional policies and acts right up to the PrEP Act, was that the government is doing this. They've always been doing it. And so what they do is they spray and they insert and they allow into the soil and the processed foods, and they spray over it the air, and they not only do they allow contaminants in our water, they probably add things that they're not coming out and saying, hey, we just added 50 billion parasite eggs to your water. Better have your filter on tonight. But they describe in USC 50, under subsection 1520, they explain and describe, because they got to tell you what they're doing, right? They list and enumerate the biological weapons, like Catherine Watt said. They're not pharmaceuticals, they're not treatments, they're not medicines. They're toxins and organisms and parasites and all kinds of things to make you sick. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about, in my mind, okay? This is my view from my medical training and the years of practice. I want to give you a quick difference. Bacteria and viruses. Bacteria, much bigger in size. Viruses, however you define. And that's the problem. Viruses, I will use the term virus, but it's how you define it. I think viruses are, first of all, a bacteria is a single cell. It's a life form. I don't think you can call it an animal, but it's a life form. What does that mean? It generates its own energy. It generates its own food source. It can self-direct its reproduction to, that dies out, and then a new one comes out. Okay? Very different for viruses. Viruses are super tiny. Bacteria you can see under a regular microscope. Viruses you can't. I mean, you need really powerful electron microscope. So when you say, I said the spike protein, you're talking about something that's so small as a whole virus, which has never been demonstrated, but let's say they did. Stay with me for a minute. A whole virus, and there's a spike protein. So you're gonna tell me that this tinier than tiny, right? You're gonna be able to measure these things, and nobody's ever seen a spike protein. You might see what you've been told is the resulting damage or inflammation of it's been there, having been there. But you'll never see a virus. You might see some cartoon or some dark pieces, and they say, "Those the virus, we got it." Not a virus. Okay? All right. Viruses are usually made. I think they're made up. They're synthetic. They're actually sort of in the microbial world. If they exist at all naturally, which I'm not sure they do. I think the government's always created synthetic entities and then said, "Oh, that's a virus." That's how they're able to manipulate maybe other materials in the natural world and then manipulate them into something that then makes people sick. Ralph Barrick, Peter Daszak, and then they make you sick with it. They have no ability to replicate themselves without latching onto a host or some sort of host material. They have no way to make their own food. They have no way. They're not alive. Most scientists would say whatever those entities are, whether they're synthetic or a piece of something in nature, they're not alive. Okay. Let's see. They're not equal to bacteria. Not in function, not in size, not in being natural. Okay. And a lot of bacteria are good. Remember, there's no good virus. There's no functional virus. But there are a lot of good bacteria, plural for bacterium. There are a lot of good bacteria. Your gut's loaded with them, keeps things functioning. It serves different purposes, makes vitamins, precursors, and other kinds of things. Okay, I don't want to get into too much of the weeds of that, but... Ladies and gentlemen, a quick break to alert you to the fact that there is a family of scam artists. I want to introduce you to this group in all over the state of Florida, but primarily in South Florida, operating as a company called Floridian Inc. or Floridian Pools. Also, they dissolved the LLC and they started a new one called the Hopewell Group. This is Elijah Davis, his father Ricky Davis, and his mother Vicky Davis. These people just scammed $9,300 deposit from some people very close to me who I care about. and that are senior citizens, and they disappeared. They literally disappeared. They have terrible reviews online. Appears that they may have been stuffing Google reviews to make themselves look good, but we've hired a private investigator that has uncovered that they have a lot of problems with the law, a lot of suspended licenses, and of course they are taking deposits and then disappearing and then just going to the next family. They are based on Rosemary Street in West Palm Beach. I would like to make sure that everyone knows this operation and call your local police if they should show up, and you can show them this picture as well. We're going to hopefully get a show on Channel 5 WP TV in Palm Beach County, and also this crime has been reported to the Florida State Attorney General's office, the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, as well as the Better Business Bureau. They were not rated at all, and there were numerous complaints against them. Let's not let these people steal money and leave. This is a horrific crime. It's left people in shambles, and I'm determined to put them out of business and then hopefully someday maybe contribute to getting them into prison. Thank you for your time and attention. Let's be honest. DC isn't going to give you a heads up when things go south. The market's already sliding. Inflation? Still here. And over $4.2 trillion has just vanished from retirement accounts. And a recession is looking like it's now unavoidable. Look, that may not shake the billionaires on Wall Street, but if you've got a 401k or IRA, a hit like that could be a disaster. That's why more folks are turning to Augusta Precious Metals. They help you move part of your retirement into physical gold, something real, something that holds value when everything else is falling apart. And the best part? They make it simple. No pressure, no games, just a team that actually takes the time to walk you through it. So if you're serious about protecting what you've earned, go to goldwithjane.com or call them at 888-836-1890 and grab Augusta's free Gold IRA guide. It's your retirement. Make sure it's protected. But I want to end this coffee chat by warning you that the hits on me and some other good people are going to start ramping up. There are going to be accusations, there are going to be things that come out, and there are a lot of you that have read things already, and somebody said, "Oh, I hate Dr. Jane. She does this." Okay, whatever. I don't really care if you like me or not. But what I do focus on are the lies, because if somebody tries to tell you, now you've got a track record from me of 5 years where I've done nothing but the same thing over and over. I've told you not to take the shots. I've told you as best of my ability what's in the shots, some of the shots are doing to some of the people, the honest truth that you don't really know what you got. And all that, and I over and over and over again. I mean, it's there. Some of you have told me you've created archives of my shows, my interviews. Wow, that's amazing. I'd love to have a copy someday, and I would pay you for it. Just remember, because some people are out there going, "I didn't know that about her. Oh my God, she said that," or "Oh this," or "Oh that." Stop. Vet, think, wait, corroborate, try to look for other pieces of it. Instead of just saying, "Well, I don't follow her anymore because, I got this little tidbit over there," that overwhelms the entire 5 years of you will know them by their fruits. So beware, because those things are coming. I can tell you they're coming. And I'm just going to keep my eye on the Lord. I'm going to keep my eye on the mission. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do. So this feels really good to be back in Coffee Chat with all of you. Tonight, Catherine Austin Fitz on the Dr.Jane Ruby Show, part 2. And I think I'm just going to do a show Friday that is sort of a teaching, discussion, just kind of me and you on Friday night. Okay, guys? That sounds like fun. We'll review some important things. I'll remind you of some important medical truths, and I'll tell you what, if you have questions or something you'd like me to talk about, maybe I'll reserve a little section of Friday night's show to feature your questions and talk about them. Give you some of my thoughts or answer questions, that kind of thing. Please just, don't send me anything personally medical. I don't give medical advice. I have no way of treating people when I don't know them, and certainly not through the internet. So please send me, general questions of interest and inquiry, or if there's some controversial issue going around or something you're concerned about in the media, feel free, and we'll dig into it a little bit. I'll do a lot of that on the spot. I'm going to try to teach. I have to finish teaching myself, but I want to try to do on StreamYard a live stream where I'm actually live, and I'll tell you ahead of time, you can watch it and you can write in the comments. I love that direct interaction. You can write in the comments the questions you have for me, okay? I think that'll be great fun. I'll feel more attached to you guys. And I've been thinking about going back and doing a couple of those Telegram live, kind of Q&A where you guys can come on and ask questions, kind of like a controlled space, right? I've also been thinking about doing spaces, but the way George Webb does them. He doesn't have people in them anymore. He just says, hey, here I am. Here's the information. This is what I feel like talking about. This is what I'm sharing with you. Boom, have a great night. And then people, we're more than welcome to put comments in the comment section. But there's none of this, this phony free-for-all, you're this, you're that. Click this, get this one up, get this one down. Just, it's passé, really passé. So, have a blessed Wednesday, July 30th. I want to say a special shout out to somebody very dear to me who had a surgical procedure today that was unavoidable, and I really thank God for quick and positive resolution, and he is home resting, and I love you very much, relative of mine. Okay, have a great night, and lots going on tonight on the Dr. Jane Ruby Show, and the Coffee Chat's getting loaded up. And I'll see you. I'll probably do another Coffee Chat tomorrow because we're way behind. Okay. Have a great night. Bye.